Hello viewers, it's the morning call on this 22nd day of June and we are coming to you live from Pointe-Noire in Congo.
And I am Robert Kodingo. If you're watching us online from New York, we are 5 hours ahead of you and we are broadcasting this live in French and English. The long-awaited end of Jean-Pierre Bemba's case at the ICC comes to an end with 18-year sentence as lawyers are pressing for an appeal and a mistrial.
Relative calm returns to Bangui in the Central African Republic after 2 days of tension in the capital. The policemen taken hostage by a vigilante group in PK5 since Sunday have been released. We find out the situation.
Eastern Africa, Eritrean refugees in Israel are protesting, calling for the trial of leaders and President Afewerki for crimes against humanity.
And Nigerian billionaire Aliko Dangote falls 25 places on the Bloomberg Billionaires Index after losing $3.7 billion due to a slump of the Naira. More in our business segment.
Welcome to this broadcast. Lawyers of convicted former DRC Vice President Jean-Pierre Bemba have vowed to press for a mistrial and an appeal against the 18-year sentence the ICC handed him for his part in campaign of rape and murder in the Central African Republic between 2002 and 2003.
He was found guilty as a commander of the Congolese Liberation Movement. Following this judgment, there is suspense on his political ambitions. Remember that Jean-Pierre Bemba had attempted to run for presidency in 2011 in the DRC. Nakwo Kwabla with more information.
Supporters of Jean-Pierre Bemba waited with bated breath as the International Criminal Court judge read the verdict, hoping for his release, but were disappointed when the court instead sentenced him to 18 years in prison. The verdict is not right in our opinion because it is selective and discriminatory justice. We are disappointed because justice was not administered by the ICC fairly. At the same time, the court recognizes that Mr. Bemba is not the main protagonist of what happened in Bangui. The ICC convicted the 53-year-old in March for war crimes, murder and rape committed in 2002 and 2003. But for some Congolese, this trial should resonate with those who commit massacres in the east of the country. As my fellow Congolese, it hurts to see another serve 10 years at The Hague. But the law has already decided. No one is above the law. It is also a lesson to those who exercise violence. Look at the situation in the east of Congo. Rapings, killings, massacre every day. His lawyers have already said they were going to appeal against his conviction, alleging that some of the witnesses were imposters.
Now we have Carrie Comer from the International Federation for Human Rights, FIDH, at The Hague and a member of the ICC coalition, or rather the coalition for the ICC. Now we asked prosecutors had asked for a minimum of 25 years and Bemba was given 18, which he has already spent 8 years, and that means he only has 10 left. What do they feel about this? Listen.
I mean, I trust the judges that it was a fair deal. I think that, you know, as those of us who have worked with victims of these cases for many years, we also would have liked to see a longer sentence. But I appreciate the content of the sentence, which was really demonstrating the serious impact that these crimes had not only on direct victims, but also on their family members and the communities as a whole. So I think that the sentence is the longest sentence that's been given at the ICC. And now what we want to wait for is what will be the reparations orders and if those will be adequate to help assist and provide redress to the thousands of victims of these crimes in Central African Republic.
Now, what does the reparation orders entail, and is it something that happens so often and is there in the international judicial system?
Part of the International Criminal Court system allows for victims also to request reparation for the harm that they've suffered. The reparation is a part of the punishment from the convicted person. So Mr. Bemba himself, if the court finds a reparation order, would be liable for providing a certain amount of reparation and redress to victims of the crimes. Now, if Mr. Bemba is found unable to provide that reparation, if he's found to be indigent, for example, then there is a specific and independent trust fund that has been set up to provide that assistance to victims. However, it takes a very long time to get to that point, and I think that we're unfortunately still a ways away from any concrete reparations decision.
And lastly, this is another success by the International Criminal Court. But what does it mean to the victims you're working with and the people you're trying to stand up for in the whole cases that are being held by the ICC?
The real value, I think, in the verdict and the sentence in the Bemba case is the fact that he was the commander of troops. He didn't physically commit the crimes himself. He was actually not even in Central African Republic when they were committed. But the value of this verdict and this sentence is that if you command troops and if you exercise control over those troops, and you know, or you should know, that these kinds of crimes, including rape, are occurring, and you don't do anything to prevent or punish these crimes, then you yourself are liable for those crimes. And I think that's a really important message for countries undergoing armed conflicts now or in the future, both on the African continent and around the world.
That was Carrie Comer from the International Federation for Human Rights at The Hague.